So many months ago when I decided to get involved, I actually had a meeting with Sheriff Nanos, and I said, I can't support you. The two people that you've decided to appoint and create this new position that was not necessary, but clearly depicted cronyism, these are the people, the two least respected officers in our department, because they have a history of retaliation, they have a history of doing things that are less than professional. I said, Chris, you need to surround yourself by officers who have great credibility in the department, because your future will be defined by that, because nobody knows you. This is a critical juncture in your life. And so he ignored me. And I said, then I can't support you. I will be available to my men and women in the department. They know how to reach me. I will not come to my office any longer, and I will do my work from outside, because I will not support this kind of a problem. And the problem grew. And eventually it came to the public's attention when the Arizona Star broke that story about Chief Deputy Radke directing one of his commanders to fire a Mexican lady who was making tacos and burritos in the cafe. Okay? Everybody loved her. Nice lady. They fire her. And the guy who was a lieutenant at the time said, why, boss? Just take care of it. So he was given an order. He said, ma'am, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. And then, all of a sudden, what happens? We have Chief Radke's niece show up and is running the cafe. And by their own admission, taking public funds to inure, to help her in that regard. No RFP, did not reach out to the blind as they were supposed to, okay? Bypassed all the rules and regulations, and this is a Chief Radke who has been in administration over a quarter of a century, has written more contracts than anybody. So you can't plead ignorance. Can't plead ignorance, because you're the expert in contracts. And what we find then is a captain who gets up there, Buddy James, and says, oh, well, it was a problem, and our officers, we needed to do this quickly, he said, because our officers are afraid to go to lunch in uniform on the south side. It's in the Arizona Star. Take a look. That's the most absurd thing I ever heard. I've been in the department 30 years. I mean, if we have a problem, it's 6 of us going to lunch sometimes, okay, at the same place. Not one in uniform. In fact, we are proud to be in uniform in the community, because even if we're eating lunch, it offers a modicum of safety to the people, because they see police officers, deputies there. And then you see the string of lies that rolled out. Nanos makes a comment. Yes, I was aware about it. We had to do it because it was, good for our deputies. And then Radke comments. And his comments were the most problematic of all. He said, I had nothing to do with it. It was I gave my niece's name to the powers that be, and they made the decision. Everybody in the department, when we saw the Arizona Star article, said that's a lie, because he was pushing we knew it. But none of us knew what had happened. We thought she won the RFP. We thought that they went through the process. But no. And then they opened a second cafe at the jail. And what happens there? The public health department shuts them down because they didn't even get the permits. But meanwhile, the captain slips and gives to the press that they use Rico Funds. Those are restricted federal dollars. Then they change the story the next day. So the reason I'm telling you all of this, that's what catches the FBI attention. They go, well, misuse of funds, criminal activity. FBI has the responsibility for police corruption. That's where it all started. And then they started calling us in and asking us questions. And within days, the word spread through the department that there was an FBI investigation on police corruption centered on Sheriff Nanos, Chief Gagnapane, and Chief Radke. And you know what happened, the first thing? I won't use the words that were coming out of the command floor up there on the 3rd floor, but they identified Sergeant Kubitsky as one of the people that went and spoke to the FBI, because the FBI called him and said, we'd like you to tell us what you know. And you know what they said? He's an effing FBI informant. His career is done. And what happened to him? He got demoted. He got put on a less desirable shift. His wife was harassed, who works for the Sheriff's Department. And that enraged me and got me even more emboldened to ensure that this cannot be perpetuated. The FBI investigation has been going on now 8, 9, 10 months. They've interviewed a lot of people. All of those people have called me. Maybe most, because to be honest with you, I can't tell you. I don't know everybody that's been interviewed, but I know a lot of people have been interviewed. And what was interesting was when they called me, they say, oh my God, Rich, they asked me this. They asked me for documents. Did I see that? But what was interesting about all of the questions that everybody was asked, they all centered around 3 individuals, Nanos, Radke, Gagnapane. And then during that investigation, Chief of Staff Gagnon Payne commits suicide, coincident with finding out that he was a principal in a criminal investigation for his actions. You never read about that in the press. It was covered up. They played it down. He just died. There was no mention of it in the press, which further concerned me. And then I have stories from a lot of these people here who would call me and say, you can't believe how I was belittled and berated in public, that I had said something, or that I had even made a suggestion that there's something could be wrong, and being challenged with, your career's over, you're going to get transferred, and so on.